It's only with the advent of AI that we've started to actually understand what it is that we have, what it is that we are. His early life was defined by huge complexity in times of war, of occupation in China. The thing that saved him was music. He took a long march across China carrying only his violin. And after the war, he left China on a scholarship to study in America. He went there with the plan that he was going to study architecture. He believed that architecture was the closest thing he could find to music. In fact, John Ruskin, the great architect and artist, said that architecture is frozen music. This idea of a structure, but in sound. And that was something that really inspired him. So when he turned up in America, he wrote to his father and said, "I've changed my mind. I'm not going to study architecture. I'm going to study composition." Fortunately, his family agreed. I think realizing that he'd had such a difficult time in childhood. But he was an extraordinary person. After studying in Boston, he went down to New York and became friends with a very, extraordinary figurehead for the early 20th century, Edgar Varèse, the French composer. He was a irascible, very difficult man, but somehow they found a connectedness between them. Varèse insisted that he should lean into who he was and his culture and background as a composer, and to really think about what that meant to him, being Chinese-born, now writing his music in America. His music is extraordinary, beautiful, challenging. He wrote largely for Western classical instruments, not for Chinese instruments, but so thought-provoking, so full of pain and beauty, speaks of his cultural past. And he was an amazing teacher. He ended up as professor at Columbia University in New York. In the 70s, he became diplomat, charged with the idea of cultural exchange to bring eminent musicians, composers from China to study in the US, including the famous composer Tan Dun, who is known perhaps today mostly for scores, film scores like Crouching Tiger. But he did an incredible job of finding ways through soft power of connectiveness between America and China in very fraught times in the 1970s. In the 2000s, he established a trust, the Spiralis Music Trust, which was all about the power of cultural exchange. He talks about the confluence, the bringing together of East and West, best shown in his own music. But he has been an inspiration for those who knew him, those who studied with him, but many people in China who never met him were inspired by his ideas, by his music, by his philosophy, to actually find their own voice in this idea of confluence of their own cultural background, but their modern day voice. And so it's a privilege to be a trustee of his Spiralis Music Trust and to help to continue the idea of exchange between East and West. I think one could say that cultural exchange is more important than ever. At a time of many tensions in the world, of geopolitical strife, differences of opinion, the thing that transcends all of that, of course, is culture and art. As I said earlier, it's something about our common humanity. And art, culture, creates a bridge between perhaps differences in other walks of life. Here, perhaps we can safely share ideas, share different experience, talk about what art has as a meaningful sort of truth within my culture and how is it used in yours. I want to know those stories, and it has been my privilege to be to China probably 8-9 times, and every time I go I'm amazed by the richness of that culture, of the pride of the people I work alongside who want me to see their stories, hear their music, see their beautiful architecture. And you have to sit with that and observe it, respect it, and learn from it. It's such a joy. And of course, I don't speak Chinese, but I have ears and I can listen and I can learn, and so can they. And that's an incredibly powerful thing. I would strongly recommend anyone, if you have an opportunity to travel and to have those other experiences, to do that. But do remember, even if you're doing a concert in another country, don't just go to the rehearsal room, go back to the hotel, and then go and perform and come home again. Give yourself some time in that space, in that culture, to see where your audience is coming from, and it will enrich your life as well as your music will enrich theirs.